Okay, that was rough. Sorry about that. Was getting crazy OBS errors that it took me about 30 minutes to figure out. Um, I didn't even figure it out. OBS simply, I just kept restarting OBS until it finally decided, hey, I'm going to start up Unity again, telling me before that having Unity open was causing a problem with OBS. I'm not sure why, but it brought it up specifically. Closed the IDE as well because it was on the list of 4 items that were causing OBS to say no. Ah, really weird. Again, I apologize about that. It have happened. It was extremely annoying. Uh, well, it actually took a little bit longer because I had tried to start streaming about 5 to 6 minutes earlier, and that's when I ran into the issue. I wanted to test out the new screens that I was using, if the macro logic was, but apparently it doesn't work. Just test. um. Okay. So with OBS doing that, I actually forgot what I intended to do today. So I think it was that I wanted to work on uh AI related stuff, right? We did make a few things off stream. They're very simple. Um, First off, we made a new map. So we now have a map that looks almost like a legitimate, like we're almost professional game devs over that. Uh, do this twice. There we go. So I'm gonna just really quick verify that we're actually streaming instead of proceeding and assuming the best. Always must assume the worst. Uh, okay, it says that we are live on YouTube. And it says that we are live on. Awesome. Okay. And apologize for that 30-minute delay. Okay. There we go. Okay. So let's explore a little bit. I'm going to be working with more enemies this time. So we're going to be doing a couple of things. Okay. Well, it came back to me. So let's explore a little bit. I'm going to be working with. We need to get. Um, we need to get something done with this. I'm not sure if I should go for music. This is what it is. So yeah, we made a new map. So a couple of little tricks I got done in that time. First off is even though this looks like the regular map, it's not. We've created a script. Um, Hello, Alt Nation. How are you doing? So we created a script that, right, we created a script that will layer. You don't get to see it. I will show it actually really quickly because we can do that. Let's go out here. Let's make it bigger. Okay. So you see this regular map here, but there's actually like think of it kind of like a film over it. So I'm gonna just display it really quickly. Where is it? Map. I think it's inside of here. Yep, there it is, terrain. And Unity has a built-in terrain system. So this is me. I created a kind of grid to map the entire terrain of my default maps. That's all of these objects that you're seeing over here. And then I created a height map using these objects in order to create a terrain. And then from there, I was able to start putting grass down, and all of this grass is GPU instance, so there's virtually no hit on processing, which is fantastic. But I'll actually, you can click here to show it on bake. You're going to see like a white mask over it. There we go. Let's raise it up a little bit so you can see clearly. There you go. Pretty cool, huh? So we did this so that way we can leverage Unity's terrain system while still keeping my original. Let's put it back. There we go. While still keeping my original system. So that was one thing that I made. If you want me to go over that, I can go over it. It took a little bit, but it is what it is. Good. Working on a little game project in Java. Would love to see your game. Sure, I'll play it right now. It's not really a game. It's more like a module, but we'll do that. So let's do this. Make the screen a little bit bigger. I don't know if we're going to bump into... I think we're going to bump into an error first because I just opened Unity. And there's a stack issue that's happening over here whenever we first load Unity. So we just need to go in, clear, and now it should work fine. Okay. So the other thing, so you can see the terrain looks pretty good. The other thing that, oh yeah, and you can even see the height map did a really good job, or rather the algorithm did a really good job of telling the height map. All of the little indents and tweaks that I did. The next step after this, what kind of AI do you have for 2.5D? They're going to be 2D enemies. It's just they're doing 3D things. So this is a character that looks like a 2D character, but it's actually a floating capsule. So it's the same thing with the enemies. They're all just floating capsule. Yeah, I got super cheap on that. Basically they're just following the camera. So it's actually just the one particle effect, but it makes it look like it's all over the place. Kind of like when they do rain in movies. So yeah, here's one enemy. So we can just hit this guy. So you'll notice if you have seen this before, or for those who have seen it before, so we've added a reticule to these enemies. I can hold tab and then we can lock on. I changed the shader from multiplicative to additive, so now this doesn't give that weird blue color when it's behind. It just tints slightly lower now, which is cool. And we can do air combos still. Right? I've refined it a little bit where now the button combinations will result in different types of attacks. And of course, the other thing that I put in was the whole feel system, right? So you notice how like certain hits have that heavy impact look to it. The stuff like that is what I've gotten done. As that's like a whole bunch of different little tricks going off there, but I just wanted to get that done just to feel good about the game, basically. Let's check out some other enemies. Actually, I haven't tried locking off yet. Oh, we can. Weird. It should completely disengage me. But that's something that I was working on earlier today. Not sure. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it should just completely disengage me as soon as the mouse moves away from him. So then we have the goblin over here. So we'll notice that over here my stamina is going lower. That's because these attacks have stamina cost to them. Yeah, there's something wonky going off. I think I might not get to what I planned on getting to. I think I'm going to end up dealing with this issue of the targeting system. It's just doing weird things still. So we need to debug it. Like, it should only be targeting the goblin, because it's the closest thing to me. But then it loses track of the goblin. Which it shouldn't do that. Okay. So... and we, of course, we have magic back, because now that I've mapped some of the keys for... oh, can we use magic? Ah, we can... sort of. Nope, we can't. We're failed to... we can't attack. We can't use it. We're out of stamina. Okay. But that was my fire magic. Alright, hello, Jordic. What kind of AI for... have... what kind of AI do you have for 2.5D enemies, or like... I'm gonna be... I'm gonna try to get to that today. You'll see the AI that there is it's a strain to say AI on the enemies already. It's just super simplistic. You got to see it. They'll just walk over to me and attack, and for the most part, those enemies will do that. There's no real reason to go way beyond that. For the bosses, though, there's going to be very detailed levels of AI. But for the enemies, it's basically, and in my philosophy on this is going to be, if an enemy can attack from a range, and it's going to be stationary or very, very slow. And if it can attack from melee, then it'll be pretty fast or as fast as the player. And that's basically it. The bosses are going to do their own thing. And so that's how I'm going to build the system. The game is mostly about really beating down enemies, collecting stuff, and then fighting bosses, clearing them out, stuff like that. Um, Actually, I didn't even get a chance. We just ended up doing combat and not whatever. So I bumped into a bunch of issues with the targeting. So let's debug targeting first, solve that, and then we'll move over to AI. Because we need to be able to target things. We need the game to be stable before I move on, basically. Um, let's do that. So that reticule that you saw, I mean, if you want me to go into it, I can do that. But this is basically it right here. Uh, this is a dummy. We don't really need it in the scene. We instance one, and then we just pull it as needed. Uh, Actually, let's make it night in the scene. Um, What does it look like? Ah, mighty impressive. Let's see what it looks like. I have no idea what nighttime looks like in this. It looks pretty good. Close. There we go. Let's see if we can try to identify what's happening here. Because we should be able to... Like, you see, we lost contact with him right there. I think it's just too close. Like, if we go over here, we lose track. Go here. We go here, we lose track. So I think it was just that... Okay, I think I have a solution. So let's go over to the player script. This stuff is resting in the player script for now. I'm going to be, once this debugging section of it is done, I'm going to be moving it over to its own manager for combat, or rather for the player's combat. But it shouldn't rest here for very long because it's just like it's 300, almost 500 lines of code. Um, it's not dense. It's just doing stuff. So we need to hit it around here. I'm thinking. Here is it. This is all debugging stuff here. So like the music that you hear playing, yeah, that's all just debug stuff. Um, that's basically what we want. Basically, when we're in the air, we want the distance from the mouse to matter less. So we're just going to multiply that into 25%. So we can move the mouse around more freely while we're air comboing without it disengaging us. And while we're at it, we're going to decrease this to 1. See how that feels? I think that was one of the issues, if not the entire issue. Get a couple enemies back us because I saw another issue. No, look at that. Like, if we're not anywhere near him, right? I think that 1.5 was fine. We're not like if we get close. Whatever. And it's still disengaging us anyway. Alright, does lock on work? Yes, it does. Okay. Okay, that should not have happened. Let me see. If I go far enough away, what happened? That's supposed to break. Did I I think I forgot to connect. That's what it. Let me see. Break. I think we forgot to connect it. Should be down here, no? Yep, there it is. Break. Yeah, we forgot to connect it. Break lock on. Got 0 reference. So this needs to go inside. Make sure it's okay. If the distance is greater than 10, then we go back to off target. Make the distance 8. Oh, 10. I'm just basing these numbers on how it felt when I used them before. I could just expose them, but it doesn't. The whole system is going to be okay. Okay, that looks good. Then I can just press tab to change a target. Now we're attacking. You can even set off a bomb underneath. Go higher. Okay. Okay, good. All right. I think we're ready to move on to AI. I think that was basically it. I just needed to... I just forgot to hook in that last... Oh, shite. We just needed to adjust the... Okay, so lock on. Go far enough away. Yep, there we go. Far enough away. Now the cool thing is we're not using raycast to do. Now, this part is what I don't understand. If we go this far out, that should go away on its own. Why isn't it? So if I lock onto him, and now it goes away on its own. This is so weird. Like, I'm gonna just do this. Go, and now it picks it up. So there's something that happens at a certain point where... Huh. We check something. Can't do it. Supposed to be focus. So we're not using raycast for any of this. Right? Pretty cool. Get to save on some frames. But yeah, so far I've been avoiding using raycasts for just about any of this detection stuff. So okay. Meaning what happens if I move close? I'm trying to get that situation where, like, if I go like that, it knows. Huh. Okay. I'm trying to get to a situation where the heck is it? This way I really want to move out. I want to move this out of this script so bad, right? Uh, it'd be real nice to be able to do. There's something happening over here with this script. So the best thing to do is, oh gosh, I hate these types of bugs. Basically, I don't know what's triggering the bug exactly, but I know where it is. It's here. Right? This is the logic for it. Problem is, I'm not sure if what's happening is that it's getting stuck here or not. Right? Because according to that, it's blue, which means that it should be uh, not in this state. It's possible. I think I get what's happening. It's possible that this is what's happening. I think I get it. This is it. Right? It's possible that what's happening is, let's bring that back. So it's possible what's happening is that we're getting to a 0 enemy count because we're so far away from the enemy. But this guy isn't null. Right? So that's probably what's happening. We're so far away from the enemy. but the actual target isn't null. And so it's just stuck there with it with that blue. I think that's what's happening. I think that makes sense. Also, I'm going to increase this to 12 and increase this to 8. And I'm going to leave hard lock-ons to 10. And I think we're ready to actually move on. This is, I think, what the main problem was. I'm not sure what it was going to feel like, but that is it. So let's work on a state machine. This is the enemy script over here. It's very simple. It's not really doing too much, right? So we just have 3 things really being accomplished on this class. One is for it to be able to get hurt, or at least represent being hurt. The other is for it to try to attack. And then the rest is just navigation, right? But we're using some clever tricks to make it look like as if there's a ton of other things happening here. One of those tricks is we're pooling a dummy. So every single enemy gets a dummy, right? When they need one. So they'll pool one and pull it from the pool, and they'll spawn the dummy or instance the put the dummy at their destination. They'll test the destination and they'll test their current position. And if both come back as on the nav mesh, then we'll try to get a path using that dummy. Then we take that path, give it back to the AI, and the AI will, instead of trying to get to the actual target, will try to follow that path. Make sense? So that is going to lead to some really weird behavior. Well, weird as in good weird. Where now we can do some pretty cool things with AI that looks like it should be more complicated than it is. For example, this guy is going to want to chase us, right? And we'll just disengage from him and watch what he does. Go far enough away. Right? All of that, well, he can do other things. Just choosing to be. Choosing to be simple. Okay. Lock onto this guy. There we go. That AoE is huge, man. Is it? Okay. Okay. We're getting some weird stuff happening. Could be just my, because I just had to update my GPU, so not sure. I'm getting some weird things happening. Um, okay. That looks like it then. But yeah, you see they're doing all kinds of different things like weird logic and stuff like that, right? And this is all made possible because we don't have to worry about navigation since we're just using a dummy and plotting paths with a dummy. Um, Now, we do have to still put stuff like colliders on edges and things like that for them because even though they'll path correctly, because we can do things like knock them around like that, they'll go flying off the map. We have to do that. Um, okay, let's get out of here. So let's work on approach first. What do we want to accomplish? Because effectively, this is accomplishing just about everything that I would want from uh, this simple of a um, AI. We just need them to chase the enemy. We just need them to attack. So the only thing that we need to think of when we're designing an AI is to think of the states that we need the AIs to be in, right? And this is where we end up getting into state machines. So let's do the homework before we exam. Let's build that state machine. This is going to be a fairly complex state machine for anyone who's just getting into programming, but the concept is, I would say, at the intermediate level. So bear with me, and it should be fairly. It should make sense. It should be intuitive enough. I am going to be testing out some things along the way because I like testing things. So I'm going to be doing a lot of breaking and fixing, usual. Let's see. So we do. This is a. This is going to be a group of things, and they're going to have to have. So it's going to involve three things. It's going to involve. Let's just create a. Where would this fit? I guess this would be a component. Okay. Uh, Create a state scene. This would actually be a manager so that I did that. Put it in the man. Okay. Since we know that this is going to be a manager now, let's work with it that way. Yes, I'm like my brain. Sorry about that. State machine, and its spelling is hard. So first thing that we want to do is let's build the other classes that are going to be part of this. Okay. And let's build. I think we should start from the state and work our way up. Right. All right. So the state is going to have. It's going to need an ID. Guess we could have a state name. We're going to be adding and getting rid of things. So bear with me. These states all return. Oh, there we go. I don't know what the heck that is. That's built in. I don't. These things usually have pretty cool names that don't do. Oh, it's actually fixed late annual. Nice. Usually they don't have the type that I care for. Okay. What else do we need? Um, this is going to be, so let me explain. This is going to fire off, this logic is going to fire off whenever we enter, sorry, whenever we enter or exit the state, we get to select right here. This one is going to fire off whenever we have a frame that goes by of the type that we care about. I'm trying to think if we have any other specific cases. I think that's it. Um, let's build it out. Okay. We could always add more later. Okay. Now, we just need to do sorry. Still getting over a cold. I'm at the tail end of it. Hmm. Uh, gotta remember. Let's do a little game. Test the waters. Okay, gotcha. I still don't know if this is, but whatever. We're close though. I just gotta remember how this is done. Mm-hmm. Let's keep doing the rest of them, I guess. No, we have to. Let's just gotta remember how this. You know what? Let's time for. I don't want to open up old code. I could sit here and struggle to remember how this is supposed to be hooked in, or I could just. I think I actually shared the code in Discord once. I just don't feel like opening up another project and oh, ooh, ah, okay, for that later. Um, I'm 100% shared. There we go. Back. Cooler. Wait, inventory. Eh, okay, looks like I have to open up some old. That's what happens when you forget more than you've ever learned. Like I've done it so many times, and then when you come back to C sharp, you just always forget. In GD script, this is how it would work, right? Because these are callables, basically. Sharp, something else. What am I missing here? Supposed to be on it. Okay, what does the error say? It says plus equal operator to operands of type bool. The left-hand side is a bool. Private mem. What did I? Oh, what? Whatever. Maybe one of them will. That works. Oh, dummy. There you go. Okay, there we go. I don't think it's match. This needs to be. There we go. Okay, boom. So now basically states are done with the hook-in process, right? We still need to make the method for removing these, but right now this is what we need. When we enter, all we have to do is do, right? And then over here, it's pretty much just the same thing. It's just on. There we have it. This is our state. Let's do. Let's be good programmers and just make the exits. Hmm. You know what? We'll just make it remove it from both. But yeah, being lazy. Normally you'd want to have one for each, but gonna hit all three. Why not? Um, okay. So now the state machine itself is basically composed of these states, right? But we still need a constructor for the state. And inside of the constructor, we're just going to, okay. And we're going to make sure that we can get private. Just today alone, I've ran into issues where I was debugging something and had made something public from like weeks ago, and yeah, forgot about it. Um, so we're gonna do name ID is equal to. Hmm, sure, we'll let it pass in the ID case. Huh, not have system. We have. Why do we have? I don't know. So weird. What are we looking? Are looking at Unity map. It. Not Unity. I don't know. System, it should be system, but it doesn't have anything. Can you not use random range out of a construct? Okay, I don't need to do it that way. There. Head. Okay, I see. So this was from DG Tweening. That's what this is. Gotcha. Didn't know that. Let's do a namespace. This under and also okay. So now the state machine proper. So the machine is a little bit different, right? I think we actually are going to need to make the state manager before we make, just for it to make sense while we're making it. But the state itself is done. This is what it is. Hopefully this is useful. Once I show how you hook into it. But generally you make a method and then you hook that method, add, change this to add logic. And add frame logic. Different frames, what okay. So now that we've made the state, let's start with the bottom, I guess. We're going to need a private. Or is it public? Public. Okay. We're going to need a list or dictionary of all of the states that we, and an array. No. Oops, whoops, whoops. We just need a dictionary of states that we, let's keep it simple. String. We need a public state get price. Ah, we don't need. Okay. And yes, and now Unity does have a built-in state machine solution. I think they have one for their anime. I haven't really used. Um, and I prefer to do it this way. If only just because I like the idea of never having to actually go into the state machine to make change. What this will do is I can code something on my side, and then I would have like a state machine, pass it into the state machine, but you don't actually go into the state machine. State machine kind of is procedurally, not procedurally, it is being created. Yeah, it is procedurally technically because you could have like an what we're going to be doing with like AI that might want to have new behavior, and so they will effectively this is a modular state machine. They will add a module for that behavior to the state machine for it to be acted on in it's it I don't want to describe it because it's going to sound complex, but it is the not that hard to put it together. It's still I would say this is like intermediate level as far as programming goes. Um so now the next thing that we want is I don't care to expose just in case. Nope. I don't care to expose this. I don't care to um we could potentially do something like that and then like just go through, but that's like overkill. Don't need to build for that. Okay. And we just need two things. Well, three. We need a constructor for this because we're going to be think a factory for this, and we're going to have a way of finding and getting that this is also going to be piggybacking in. So you're going to see that in a with this. think we should approach this in uh right, and then after that, there we go. So now after that, we have state. So we have the active state, state name. Uh, let's let's set the so first thing is first. We need to call the active if state equal null. Ah, what was it? Was exit. Oh, it's private. Okay. First we do the active then we say active state equal to Oh, whoops. Hey. Okay. Now the meat and potatoes. That's the entry into the state machine that's going to handle basically. Now it's to the part where we're going to creating tools that are needed to make a state machine. Now there's different versions to this. Another gentleman making a bitewise state machine, which I find I take umbrage with, but this is definitely my one of my more favorite ways of designing them because it's just so modular. I'd rather this modularity over the other modularity. They're both, well, I can definitely say that going bitwise is industry norm. Uh, Again, if this is a fairly, some folks, complex system, have questions, I'll try to answer. So let's go about the construction of this factory. So let's make some helpers. Public. Next. Um, use the constructor to. No. This is that part that I was thinking on if I wanted to mess around and find out about. I've always wanted to try to do it this way, but I don't think I can. I'd have to do it. Oh, that makes it way too complex. Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, now we're kind of getting into that area of it moving into uh higher level coding a little bit, just a little bit, but this is just some obscure stuff that enum allows for. It just allows you to mess around with enum because Sharp just doesn't have that built. Enums are weird. Uh, I think we don't even. No, I think that's it. All right. All right. Let's just throw an argument out there. But there wasn't a type. This is all. There's a way that I always do this. This is not it. So this is just me testing stuff to see. I've always just been curious about how to approach. Right? Because now we can just do something. and handle it externally. Get like a readout of all of the states that are. This is kind of making it, or should be, it so if you want to use this for your thing, enums do it. Go ahead. If you want to list of strings, add things like regardless, it'll convert it over. Um, yeah. What the? Whatever. What? Hey, this will just get the raw states. You put them in whatever form. This will get the states, but as the state machine. Right. So I think we're good as far as construction goes. Use the constructor to do it. And we could always just put. So let's say that we have like a list of states. Just put like the index that we want states to actually start at. So it's based on the order of things. So if it's enums, it'll read the first enum, the last, and then should we do? How do you get that? You know what? Let's not do this. Right? So now, or start. I don't think we want to do it that way. I mean, it's the same thing, but makes more sense. That's it. So the state machine itself now, you could legitimately, uh, should legitimately be able just this by itself, and you'd get about 50% of the functionality of what I'm aiming for. Like anything that you would need for just a basic state machine. The part that we're going to hook in now is the last part, and that is the batching of state calls. And that's what the state manager is for. So basically, this way we'll uh, create a machine. So we can create a machine this way, but it won't register with this. Or we could, but we'd have to manually register it with this every time. Or we could call this method, and this will register this automatically for it. Okay. So now, sadly, not as clean cut as just doing really nice if that's all we had to do. We have to actually make some accessors for this. That way, when we are getting in and out of these things, we're not creating problems for ourselves because unfortunately, going well, as part of the system, we're going to be iterating quite a bit. Let's go ahead and right. We'll assume that for our game, we're just going to have 1,000. Um, don't really care. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to have 1,000 state machine project. It's there. You know what? Let's tone it down. Go down to one. That's a more reasonable number. Um, okay. So Okay. So now we can add machines that way, and then we also ah, we're good. We don't. That's an overkill. Sorry. Um. Okay. Sure. So we can now create a machine, add a machine, move a machine to the manager. Now, the final part, the reason why we're even here to begin with. Update fix. Boom, shakalak. Now we are, I think we're finished. We need to give the state a reference back to its state machine. That's a thing, right? Because you don't need to, but I like to have this. It might be bad coding practices. I find it very convenient. Basically, uh, where do we? Okay. Can't remember. Can't you just do? I guess. All right. So now inside of the state, the only reason I did this, I could do something. There we go. That's our state machine, or our whole process for a state machine. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Um, yep, there it is. Okay, now let's test things out with this state. We'll go over to the player, be able to test stuff. This player script is chocked full of just stuff I've been testing. Um, but we're gonna make it so on right click. There we go. We're gonna make it so that on right click, um, we will uh change our state to something that has some kind of logic that we've attached to it. So the very first thing is, let's make a method, right? And then we're going to go state here, uh, 8, and I want to make em. Oh, uh, so we can't go no, because oh, we have to go. Uh, um, oh, does it need to have it? Yeah. Get a different approach. Like I said, that part is definitely working. I've been at it every time that I approach it, I fail. But sometimes when I do that with stuff, I just randomly get it. All right, it looks like we're just gonna do it the way that we should. Hey, uh, in GD script, this is so much easier because it's dynamically typed, but in Unity or C Sharp, it is rough to get this to do what I want it to do. Very rough. Ugh. Huh. It's crazy out here. Um, I'll be a monkey's uncle. It is crazy out here. Let's I think I mean we can keep everything else the same. It's just we have to get rid of this. I would have really liked I would have really liked to have stored it that way. That would have been awesome. Bother. That would have been awesome. I got to get my brain to figure out like what approach because there's obviously something that I'm trying to do here, and I just need my brain to catch up to what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. Like I know what the end goal is, but pieces of the puzzle, you know? I don't want this to take up too much time either. So this needs to go. And we're just gonna make it a expect a specific thing, a list of that's what we're gonna expect. We're gonna set it to expect a list of strings and that's it. That's it. That's all. That's all she wrote. Um, so good news is all we have to do is that. Let's delete all of this. We it looks ugly, so let's delete it. Yep, yep. We'll just do it another time. When my brain can figure out what I want I think that's closer to what I wanted than when I tried it the first time. So we're making progress. We're learning. Um, okay. And match this stuff up here. There. Should do it. Now, want to get rid of. Boom shakalaka. Oh, we need to get. Okay. Now back on this side. Get rid of it. Okay. So now in Unity, or sorry, in Godot, I would normally introduce a population method that happens while we are creating, right? And so I think I get it. So we can do something like prepare. Ooh, gonna take in state, and this is going to check. This isn't hello world, the classic. And then do huh. Oh, oops. Yeah, that. I think this is Unity's. I see. No, no. Add logic. That's what we're looking. Hello. There we go. Okay. So now we can do something. And this would actually be I have to do it a little bit different. Now, I think we have to do something at the bottom. There we go. Okay. So now what should happen is uh we're going to do this. Create the machine, right? And then as soon as we create the machine, the very first state is going to be set to 0. We're going to pass in the plan, or rather here, right? And this will now pass through the information and populate it into the state machine for us ahead of time, which is really simple. It's basically just this call, and all this is doing is it's going to get the state. Hello, nipple. All this is going to do is it's going to get the state, and then it is going to add that logic of hello world to this. And that, if this works right off, I don't think this will work the first time, but that's fine. Um, so let's put this in our start method, or actually let's put this at the end of initialize. And let's see what happens. We're going to just run the game and test things out. How are you doing, nipple? Okay, so this is a console that we're looking. We still need to put in. Let's go to our manager and put in our state manager. Right. So now this is going to be the thing that's going to be driving our state machine. This. Good to hear. I'm assuming you like 2D, 2.5D ARPG. Yes, this is Unity 6. I'm expecting, yep, we crashed. Okay. So let's go back and take a look. Did we, I think we forgot to initialize. No, we did. Object reference, so state. Huh, weird. This is a, huh? Add state. The state name index is passed in. Shouldn't be anything stopping this from being created. The only thing I could think of is full states is not initial. Oh, this isn't turn-based. Um, I'll show you what this is in a second. I'll pause what I'm doing now and I'll just show it to you. I could just disable this. This is an ARPG. Make it bigger just for you. To see all of the pixely glory. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against turn-based games. In fact, I plan on live streaming Octopath Traveler 1 and plus I really enjoy Besotted game. I've I've always seen Octopath. I have any clue, but this is not trying to be like Octopath. Lock on to him. And let's see if we can get him going. Oh shoot, we disabled magic. I was testing stuff earlier and disabled cast spells. No, this is solo entirely. There's, as far as I know, there's no group I'm with. Notice how the tiles get knocked up and stuff like that? I disabled magic though, so it's kind of like I'm pressing right click X to try to get stuff done. Like I'm pressing right click to do magic and nothing is happening because I disabled it. It's fine, man. Go away. Super proud of that. Thank you. I can't wait to put. Ah, no, I'm gonna fall. Okay. I don't think we can come back up. I did not put any colliders into the world yet, so we just fall. I didn't. There's no colliders on the walls for this map yet. I was going to make this map and two other maps, but I wanted to take care of the bait machine first and hook the enemies in properly. That way, when I get to the boss, which is going to be much more complex, everything is prepared already ahead of time. Oh, that's what was working. Your friend created a game called was it Besotted? I'll look it up. Besotted. Uh Game. What platform is it on? Is it PC? I saw it on Steam. I see. Oh, your friend is freaking talented. Holy cow. How much is this? 13? Looks good. I'll give it a shot. It looks more like a farming sim type game though. I want to try it out. Like I like this. I feel like if I had met your friend when they were developing this and we worked together on that, we would have had something pretty crazy. But this already looks crazy as is. Did he make this solo? That would be rough if he did this solo. Ah, okay, cool beans. Ah, nice. What do you develop? What are you working on? Do you have any like projects you are doing right now? Roguelikes. Gotta love them. I really like this though. I like the art. It reminds me like going back. This is like uh N64 PlayStation 2 era type stuff. Cool. This is definitely cool. This is like throwback. Dive into the world of Besotted, a classical JRPG 2 to 3D art style set in a fantasy world within three main protagonists, each their own deep backstory. Full death, revenge, love, destiny. I think this his direction versus my direction would have been too different. This is cool. I like this. Good for them, man. I love seeing. It's awesome. Yeah, it gives me a castle in the sky kind of vibe. But it couldn't be. It's not. This is definitely not a solo project. There's definitely consistency into the art, everything. This is a lot of camera work, a lot of love went into this. I can see I can see some of the little tricks that he's playing as I'm watching the code. Oh, it's like Final Fantasy style combat. Particle effects are crazy. Pixels kissing, awesome. Sure, sure. I'll check it out. After stream, I'll check it out. Um, that's cool. So in this, in a lot of these streams, I try to like show. I mean, obviously, I show the code that I'm doing to get this stuff done. I think nighttime is cool, but I want to go back to daytime. Daytime was giving me more energy to get more done. um, let's move the camera place that's not behind a whole bunch of trees, I guess. Oh, we'll leave. Okay, so let me get this done so that way I can hook back in magic and do that. So we had a small problem where right by the time we get to right here, this is saying that uh, we have a null. So how about this? Null state add, do it that way. Unless it's going to say health states. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. No, no, no. That's autocomplete for the lose. Um, there you go. Okay. Yeah, we should always be returning something. All right, now let's try it. So let me just be clear what happened for anyone who's going to be following along now or in the future. Basically, I accidentally overwrote this state with the out from here. So I just needed to give this its own name. All right, let's see what the next error is. This is normal coding. It it Hey, it worked. Hey, it says hello world. So our state machine works. Holy cow, on the second try. That's not bad. I joined your Discord. It's nice to connect with you. By the way, could you share the story of your game? I apologize if I missed it earlier. Um, wow, you're the very first person that has asked about the storyline of the game. That is, Nepal, I wish I could give you, is there like a sticker or something I could, like a star I could give? I'm gonna get the, I know what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get the avatars for streaming, and you're going to get like all of the money. Trust me. Like, um, so the premise is, you start off. Okay, so it's kind of roguelike, right? In that the beginning of the game can change a bit based on certain things that you pick after you complete each playthrough. You get to unlock traits, and you get to a certain amount of points. You could spend those points and then assign traits to your character and assign traits to your characters. So these traits can have effects on your character's backstory. So, keeping it granular, the game starts off with you being introduced to a pretty cool character, tutorial guy I call him. And his entire thing is to strong arm your character, who is young and naive, into needing his help, um, and thanking him for enslaving you, essentially, as you're actually helping him out, leading you into the very first place that's called a world secret. So before we even get to the world secret, how did you even end up meeting him? Your character gets caught between, and this is what makes your character unique from all the other characters in the game. You know these little bars up here? Usually characters only have a couple different colors of them. They represent the element of your character. It's kind of like your bloodline. You're kind of born with it. That's the traits that I had mentioned earlier. And then but your character gets introduced to two other characters, two extremely powerful characters. Think of them as the fish, the frogs outside of the well, who end up in a life or death struggle between one another. And as part of that struggle, seemingly kill each other, and your character ends up getting caught somewhere in the middle of that. But survived miraculously. It gets revealed how that happened in this later on, but you've been changed, and that change leads into your unique ability to acquire different types of elements that normally are not accessible to most folks, right? Usually people have one element or maybe two. You can have quite a few, and that's what makes you a dual core. So now, as that goes along, you wake up, you're introduced to this tutorial guy who's going to walk you through the very first dungeon area, effectively, where you're introduced to combat, the mechanics, blah blah blah. All of that is to say, you find out that his job or his calling in life is to pursue these things called world secrets. Um, and these world secrets, there's a lot of these things that have the world prefixed before it. Uh, these are effectively areas of extremely high technology. That even though the world itself on the surface is kind of what was that game called? Horizon. The world on the surface looks kind of archaic or medieval by comparison to these areas of world secrets. You go through these areas, you find uh, extremely extreme dangers and a lot of treasure. Uh, and he disappears from that point, but he gives you a book on how to become stronger effectively. It's your martial arts. It's going to allow you to start going into styles and things like that. You can now equip different abilities, get different combos, blah, blah, blah. So that's the whole combat section. Probably. Um, it's going to be the hero's journey ultimately, right? Because your character now is open world. Um, you can pursue small pieces of story. The main storyline, though, so think of it almost like Skyrim in a way, where you have just layers of these different stories. Some of them are emergent stories, like protect this group here, and then as a result of you protecting that group, getting to that location, this town will now become wealthier. As a result of that town getting wealthier, it opens up a new range of quest lines that can be pursued from within that town, and all of that is emergent. So we code it once, we don't have to really worry about it. AI has just continued to develop that. But all of that actually plays back towards the main story, where the world has to, besides your character being strong enough to defeat the last boss or bosses, the world actually has to be capable of producing people that can fight with you against those last bosses. Um, Otherwise, there's multiple endings. So you go through the first area, which is after the first 20 years, I think it's 10 or 20 years, you're going to meet that same NPC dude, tutorial dude again. This time, no, actually, it's in 5 years. This time, he's going to pull you to going towards the east. This is weird. These are the three kingdoms. So, your character starts off in the Fallen Empire. So, the Fallen Empire is seven different kingdoms, effectively. And these kingdoms are used to be obviously part of the empire. Then to the northeast, there is the actual kingdom, which is colloquially referred to as the kingdom. And there are characters that are just insanely um, driven. The first character that you meet, the female of the two characters that you meet that seemingly killed one another. I don't know if you want. I mean, I guess I could spoil it. But you know what? I'll just tell you the ending. The ending is you get to the world's end, what it's called, and you have to go past that point. It turns out that those two guys that you had met way earlier on at the very beginning of the story uh, were just members of this group that are privy to um, a good chunk of the world's secrets. Enough so that they know that uh, gosh, it's so hard to describe it because there's so many different parts to it before that. Um, boy. I want to describe it for you, brother, but the problem is that there's so many freaking parts and I feel like I'm rushing through it. Like there's the part about that like Sophia, who is the goddess that was thrown. Like if I told the story from that perspective, maybe it would be. So at the beginning, you have to ask yourself, if everything was created, right? If everything that's real is and this is the mythos, this is the actual ending, this is how it all comes back together. If everything that you can see uh or rather, if everything that exists, that you know exists, exists because it was seen, if it was created, that's a possibility, right? So, what does the thing that created it actually look like? And that's what the big conundrum is here. Because whatever looked at the world, whatever created whatever we understand of the world, um, what if it never looked at itself? What if it never saw itself? It just looked. And that's the final tribulation. The character is going to have to make their way through that. Um, so that's where Sophia comes in, because Sophia is supposed to be based on the Gnostic um, goddess of named similarly Sophia, who was cast down from beyond the heavens and landed on Earth. And inside of each one of us, according to the Gnostics, there is something called a spark, and that spark can be cultivated to make us give us access to closer to the things that Sophia was about. Her knowledge, her wisdom, her powers, everything like that. So that's the premise of where, or that's where, try to get it to be less abstract. That's the premise. That's the general premise of the game. That's where all of this magic comes from. That's where all of these weird abilities come from. That's where this type of style of combat comes from. Everything is gathered from Sophia. It's just how people have decided to manipulate it. Now the question is, well, where is Sophia? What is she doing? Well, that's what's beyond the world's end. The world's end are creatures who basically they eat on things like Sophia. These Sophia comes from beyond. Oh wait, sorry. Your character, in a way, if I'm not mistaken, Breath of the Wild is similar. Yes, probably. I can't seem to come up with a storyline for my game. That's why I want my next game to be set in Earthrise book series by Daniel Aronson. I've heard of Earthrise, actually. I'm just super stoked that my freaking it only took 2 times and the state machine is working perfectly fine. Like it's great. It's awesome. I need to spend more time coming up with the organization for the story, because I'll be honest with you, I'm a writer. So the fact that I've spent more time coding and doing level design and all this other stuff instead has taken its toll. That's my ability to tell the story is rough at the moment. I haven't really thought about putting it in a formula to share it with other people yet, because I've been spending so much time just building these parts out. Ah, you see, you got it easy. And so, yeah, I'm gonna look up Earthrise real quick. Let me see if it's gonna flag any memories. I'm gonna also save this Besotted because I want to check it out later. Let me add it to my Steam wishlist. Otherwise, I will go out of sight, out of mind on it. Yes. Okay. And man, it's been so long since I've added something. There we go. Okay. Okay. And the other one that you were talking about is Earthrise. Check that out. Yeah, I've seen this. Okay. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep, yep. They should make a series out of it, though. I mean, they did. I think this has a better pacing. From what I've seen of it, it has a better pacing than oh gosh, what was that? Amazon did that series and it was good at the first season, but then it just started going super slow. Um, was it? It was the I don't know if you know, it was they canceled it after like season 4 or 5 because like one of the actors was like a pedophile or something like that. I forget. Like he yes, there we go, The Expanse. Like that was it. The thing is that The Expanse was really good. The first season it was okay. The second season, but the pacing really just like hit a wall after that. It was so like they spent one. I think it was season 4. They spent the entire season essentially with the going with the lady inside of a room. Yeah, The Expanse was good. Just you can get away with double timing season 4. Season 3 and season 4, you can get away with like triple timing it if anything. Oh man. I can't believe we got the state machine to work the first time. Are you interested in implementing a state machine like this or you're good? It's an event driven state machine. So basically I can create a method like this and then hook it into the state machine by just doing something like. And so whenever this state happens, it'll call hello world. And if I need something that's going to like happen every frame, and just do uh right? So we can just do something like this. And now all of a sudden on when I enter the game, I'm going to be in foo state. So it's just going to keep spamming it. Yeah, see. Pretty cool, huh? This is a good way to lock specific logic behind certain states. And all of this is to do this without ever making any new changes to the state machine directly. It's just we're adding logic. We can even remove the logic after a certain point. Um, I can't vouch for the whole thing yet because I literally just finished making it, so I can't really say. Yeah, this is a pretty expansive game, and this is only half of it. This area is this is just basically how the combat areas look, right? So each combat area is basically like this, and then you go through like a teleport, and it's going to lead you to the next area. So in this case, there's going to be 3 areas like this, and then the third area is the boss area. You go there, you defeat the boss, and then it's kind of like Monster Hunter, where you just like you claim your stuff, and then you go back to the overworld. So uh, now that I'm approaching a now that I'm approaching the AI part of this, the music is done, all this other stuff is done. It's basically just scene transition that's left, AI, and then we start building the overworld. But combat is effectively done right now. I mean, it will be expanded later, but for right now, I have in such a modular place that it's like super easy to expand it and just do whatever I want with it. Like I can show you just making new attacks. I can just do this. Go here, make a new scriptable object, and then just make a new attack, and then that's it. It's as long as the weapon matches the uh, ability matches the weapon that we're putting in, right? It won't let us equip an ability to a weapon that can't really use ability for. But we have an effect system, so if we attack, whatever, right? Like on hit, when we attack, here we say after attack, and we have a whole bunch of listing of effects. It's good. It's really good. I'm happy with it. Um, but then later on, wave generation. Oh, I see. You probably like stored a whole bunch of enemies and then just loaded up from different scriptable objects. Is that what you mean? Like you had a scriptable object for each wave that should be spawned? You could customize the wave based on the content of the object? Assuming that's what you mean. And we can even do for like when we're exiting the frame by setting this to false. So now when we add this logic, it will only fire off when we're exiting the frame, the bar stuff, but we want it to happen when we're entering. Well, yeah, when we right? And we'll do a second one over here for when we're exiting. And so over here, we're going to say bar plus then over here, that. And let's give ourselves the ability to change states. So where is that right click? Uh, where is right click? Update stat. There we go. My code on this class is super messy because this is like where this is my player, but this is like where I'm just debug testing everything. So at some point, I'm going to clean all of this up. It's just really easy to just dump stuff in here and test them out. All of my like input buttons are here. So now we're gonna go to state, or actually state, go with food, or rather with, and so now we should see what we're going to see is we're gonna get a debug. We're gonna get a debug saying hello world. Then we're gonna get a debug when we exit. When we right click, we're gonna get a debug when we exit saying bar, and it's gonna say foo. And then we're going to get another one saying bar and then bar. That's what should happen. Play. First get our hello world. Then when we right click, nice. So this is when we're exiting the frame. This is when we're entering the next, or exiting the state, entering the next state, and when we entered the foo state. So our state machine works perfectly fine. We're good to go. Okay, I think I'm gonna actually call it there. I wanted to do some work on AI, but I feel like I'm a little bit exhausted. Even though I have been coding since this morning, but I've only been streaming since like 3 o'clock. Um, so I think I'm gonna call it there. Tomorrow I will work proper on hooking in this logic with the enemy script, hooking in the state machine logic with the enemy script. Um, but I am getting a slight headache. I know that I'm getting tired. Nepal, I will talk to you over Discord. We can want to see what you're working on with you. All of this state machine done. Let's turn on. We're gonna turn. Okie do. That's it. Okay, so quick before I call it there, a quick rundown. Well, not a rundown. I'm just gonna show it. Run down enough. This is the state machine. Use link. Um, so first we start off with the state machine manager, right? Um, it has a private singleton instance just to ensure that there's only one of it in this. Um, since we have that instance, making sure of that, we can also leverage that and just make a whole bunch of static accessors to it, which you saw me already utilize. All right. And finally, we have the batching calls. So this will, any state machine that goes through this process will also then be able to utilize a batched update fixed up. This is pretty awesome. And since this is a singleton, we don't have to worry about quite a few things. Um, it's important to note that state machines live on the object. So we do have a small problem here where we probably want to check this every once in a while to ensure that it's not holding on to a null state machine, right? Um, so we can do that, but not really necessary right now for me to do. Um, Beyond that, we have this interface here. We don't really need any more, but if down the road we want to get super fancy with this, leverage all of its ability. Uh, State machine itself now. So this exists on whatever object normally. Use it however you like. It gets its ID here, just some random hash code. Um, that's it. So we can always just refer to it using its hash code. And then we also have this right here, which is a static call to produce an action plan for this, which is just a dictionary. Pretty cool. And then the meat and potatoes, the workhorse of this all is the state. Comes with, you can expand on this however you like in your project, but I find that this is pretty fine for me. Okay, on enter, on exit, and so on. These are all private. We do not make these static. Private properties, static. So, um, normally you would want to break this out and then have one for add logic and then just go through this. I just get rid of everything that has this function. Um, and then this is it. So if we are, these are the functions that'll work no matter what, right? But in order for these functions to work, you must create this or add this state manager, right? It has to be registered with state manager because that's where the batching calls are coming. Now, since they're public, you technically don't have to do. You could technically go here into the state manager and then just call update inside of your update method on whatever object you want, right? Instead, if you really don't want to like make the state manager or use, just make this class, store it somewhere, and then just call its update function on whatever frames you need, and it will still handle it just like if it's called it further. And that's it. That's a state machine. This is an event-driven state machine. You've seen basically what it can do. Register effects or logic to it, and it will execute it for you on those states, locking that behavior behind that state, which is extremely powerful. Okay, that's it. Have a wonderful night.